What video games have to teach us about learning and literacy by Juan Valladolid. I chose this book, What Video Games Have to Teach Us About Learning and Literacy by James Paul G because I myself like to play video games. I've played video games since I was a little kid, from the Nintendo to the Nintendo 64, PlayStation, Game Boys, Xbox, the Wii, and even games on the computer, um, and games on my phone. So I'm a big fanatic of video games. So James Paul G, he's an American researcher who has worked in psycholinguistics, social linguistics. He is a professor at Arizona State University, and he is known for his involvement in literacy research and his work with video games and learning. So, this book is about how video games are becoming a new type of literacy. The book goes on to discuss how video games are very good at teaching users how to do complex things quickly, and that some of the techniques employed by video games could be adopted by educators to teach children, even parents. They can help students with their homework, through video games as a platform of, practicing. G also talks about how video games encourage deep learning, deep understanding of the game, and how to be successful, how to develop critical thinking skills that players use to become successful at specific games. You Video games foster learning that develops self-esteem and self-efficacy through gameplay. Good video games offer players strong identities. They make players think like they're soldiers, like they're basketball players, soccer players, race car drivers. Video games provide an environment that is optimized for deep learning. All of these concepts are directly applicable through learning just any skill, from how to traverse a virtual landscape to basic science, math, and even social skills. Video games. Some of these video games here you have Minecraft, Call of Duty, Mario Kart Deluxe, FIFA 19, Angry Birds. So, video games range from ages to personal likings and personal taste. For example, the Minecraft game, you find a lot of children in grade school, maybe even older, playing this game. This game's good because you can build, you can destroy, um, you can build houses here. You're given a bunch of tools, and you're free to roam the demographics and build, maybe even a bridge, build a farm and so that's really good for the children to, let go on their imagination. Call of Duty, even a game like this, there's violence. Yes, of course that's bad, but besides that, there's critical thinking skills that are required to play this game, to not get killed. And for example, in FIFA, this is a soccer game. I remember growing up, I had one of the FIFAs growing up, and I learned a lot of geography through playing FIFA. I would see the flags of the different countries, and that helped me recognize that in geography class or in grade school class. G also mentions that video games are a set of problems. You are given the tools to solve them. Games can track your process and progress, and that's good for data and good for growth. Also, from this book, James Paul G derives a set of learning principles from his study on video games and video games transitioning into the classroom into effective teaching and practice. He came up with 36 learning principles, ranging from active critical learning principle, design principle, semiotic domains principle, meta level thinking about semiotic domain principle, committed learning principle, identity principle, self knowledge principle, practice principle, probing principle, intertextual principle, subset principle, discovery principle, cultural models about semiotic domains principle, dispersed principle, insider principle. These are just some of the 36 principles that he came up with. And lastly, video games have taught us a lot about learning and literacy. A lot of the things that these video games provide are useful in transitioning these principles into the classroom, into the real world, as another skill. Um, Obviously, this is a tool that's critical in the development of children and learning. Yeah, of course, we don't want our children to sit in front of the TV for multiple hours all day, every day. There should definitely be a set limit time for when children get to play after their homework, before their homework, intentionally to help them with their homework, maybe math games, a writing game, a Minecraft game. And I really enjoyed reading this book and reviewing the material. The more material one has in their toolbox, the better it is. We always get different teaching styles from different teachers we meet along the way, and this is a very useful method that I'm gonna deliver in my classroom in a positive way.